Hey everybody, welcome to Old Roommates. Today on the show, we revisit the 1992 thriller, Basic Instinct. So, grab your ice pick and let's chip away at this sexually charged masterpiece. We'll see.
Oh my goodness. All right.
It's all about sex, Christina.
It is all about sex. Welcome to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. This is Christina.
This is Brian.
And we're talking about Basic Instinct. Brian.
Yes.
Tell me, where were you the first time you
So,
saw
I absolutely
Basic
1,000, thank you for asking.
You're welcome.
I was absolutely 1,000% in a movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember who I saw it with. I want to say Julie, but maybe it was my friend Jessica. I can't truly remember. I remember, full honesty, being bored to tears, but loving Sharon Stone and being like, wow, this is a moment. Like Sharon Stone just ruled this movie and everyone else fell by the wayside. And when she wasn't on screen, I was bored. I have to be honest, even in 1992, I'm like, okay. Like, for the sex scenes?
Yeah.
I don't know what I was expecting. I mean, I had seen my share of porn,
Sure.
at that point. And, but I guess I just, weirdly enough, I remember being a bit bored by this movie and just finding it a bit depressing, like murky, and not very fun unless Sharon Stone was on screen.
Sure.
That's what I
can see
remembered.
that. Well, I think that your expectations were probably due to the hype
Yeah.
this movie had about it just being basically sex on a stick. It was all about the sex.
Yeah.
It was all about that one scene.
It really is one scene.
Yeah.
And not to jump ahead, keep going.
But it is,
Yeah.
I remember the hype about this movie, and it was just, everyone was like, I mean, there were people up in arms that it was only rated R because it was so sexual. So I can understand you going into the movie theater and being like, what's going on? Like, so what about this sex?
Yeah.
Like, truly.
There's another part of it, too, though, going back to then. Because the script sold for $3 million. And that was the most any film studio had ever, or producer or whatever, had ever paid for a script. $3 million. And so that was behind some of the hype.
There was just
as well.
a lot of hype.
There was a lot of hype.
There was a lot of hype.
Yeah.
I also saw it in a movie theater, and I was also...
Remember who you were with?
I know it wasn't on a date. This is not a good date movie. And it was funny, we've talked about this before with Fatal Attraction, and my friend Lisa, she was on a date. She had a first date. It was either this movie or Fatal Attraction. I can't remember which one. I meant to call her before this recording. I have to check in with her and figure out if she even remembers. But I remember going on a first date with one of those movies, and I'm like, what a terrible first date movie to be on. In either case, but this would probably be worse. But anyway... I don't know who I was with. I was with a friend. I don't remember which one. But I also remember being quite bored, and it felt very long. It's over 2 hours long.
It is over 2 hours long.
But it felt very long, and it was... I mean, it was somewhat interesting, but I felt like, even back then, I felt like it didn't get to the point, like... I don't know. It just, I didn't really buy, like, the connection between the two of them. It didn't feel, like, really authentic. Like, the connection that they had.
You're talking about then. Back
I'm talking
in
about
your feelings
then.
then, 92.
I'm talking about then.
Okay.
But I will say, I thought the ending was surprising. And I remember being surprised at the involvement of the...
Beth,
yeah, the therapist. The IA therapist.
Internal Affairs, psychologist. Yeah, and once again, you have Michael Douglas juggling a psycho blonde and a brunette named Beth.
Oh my gosh, I forgot it was
That's so weird.
Name. That is really weird.
And she kind of looks like Ann Archer. It's so
does.
Weird.
She actually, you know what's so funny?
Jean Triplehorn is her name.
Jean Triplehorn. She, to me, looked so much like Katherine Heigl. If you look at her, like, she has, like, the same lips or something. There's something about her.
Like Katherine Heigl from, like, Grey's Anatomy?
Yes. Aside from the blonde hair. Imagine her with a brunette
Well, we saw her
wig.
with the blonde.
No, Katherine. Yeah. Imagine Katherine with a brunette wig.
Okay.
To the point where I was looking at her and I'm like, is that Katherine Heigl? And I knew it wasn't, but I'm like, could it be that my memory is wrong? Because that happens every once in a while. But
I didn't get that.
I ended up looking her up because and then I saw her name. I'm like, oh yeah, that's like Janine. That's right. Janine, triple one. But she looked so much like her to me. It was like weird.
Yeah, I mean, Katherine Heigl was probably a toddler.
Right. It never made sense.
But it's interesting. I mean, it's interesting. I didn't see that, but it's so we'll dive into now.
Sure, of course.
Let's talk about Beth because. Now, like, watching it, because I've only, truly had only seen this movie once.
I think I've only seen it once, too. I might have seen it one more time after that, but I doubt it.
92. So, now that you know, and oh God bless if you haven't seen Basic Instinct, but...
Well,
Beth.
You know what, this show's all about spoilers.
It's revisiting, so we're gonna spoil stuff for you, I'm sorry. But...
And, we didn't even mention, we're actually social distancing.
Oh my God, we didn't mention that. Oh my God,
we didn't mention it. I apologize. We are social distancing in my house. We're 6 to 8 feet away.
Yeah.
So we are projecting our voices, so I apologize for the sound.
But anyway. That's right. And I want to say thank you, actually, it's a good point. I want to say thank you because we keep, trying this in different ways and different forms to have social distancing. So we know this sound isn't ideal. We've tried it at my house, at Christina's house, and we're trying different things and different setups, and we appreciate you so much sticking along for the ride with us and listening to the podcast. Also, Switzerland, thank you. If you're in Switzerland, we showed up on a top 50 in Switzerland, which is amazing. So, but yeah, thank you for listening and hanging out and sticking with us while we figure out the next level of sound for this. It's very challenging.
We're hoping What Cheer opens up soon.
Because
we do miss recording in the studio.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you.
I apologize.
So let's talk. No, it's okay. Let's talk about Beth because now that you know that Beth's involvement, is it so fucking obvious that it's
so
her?
Obvious. It's so freaking obvious. I was like, I was really embarrassed. For myself.
Same. Christina, I felt the same thing. I felt the same. Christina, I felt the same way. To the point.
Bizarre.
To the point. Christina, there is and even if you should see, I'm saying this out loud, see Basic Instinct again. You have to see it again. Yeah. Because there's a point in the movie where they're all sitting at the long table and they're talking about Catherine saying, well, if it isn't Catherine, then it's someone who's obsessed with her. And they cut to Beth.
Yes.
They cut to Beth.
Yeah.
It's right there. There's twice they say, well, wait, who? Beth killed someone? And like, no, Catherine. Like, it's all right there.
It's all right there. It's so obvious. It's embarrassing that we didn't see it before. And I don't know why that is. I mean, I didn't feel like the script was so strong.
Nope.
That it was like obviously Catherine. Like it wasn't something that like I don't know why she was so removed from the whole scenario. Somehow Beth was so removed from the whole crime investigation. I don't know how that happened. But it did. Somehow it actually happened. And I'm appalled at myself for not realize it.
I mean, the movie lays it all out. It is, like, glaringly obvious. There's even a couple points where when Michael Douglas walks into Beth's office and she's putting a file away, and she turns her head and she has the world's biggest glasses on her face. Mm-hmm. It's almost like they're trying to hide her face because you just saw someone. And by the way, that first scene with the bloodbath and the ice pick, it's clearly a wig.
Clearly.
It does not look like blonde hair at all.
A wig.
It does not look like human hair at all. So it's like, how dumb was I in 92?
But in your defense, though, it's not like something we could rewatch. Like, that was the first scene.
Right.
So you haven't seen Sharon Stone.
True. Right.
So you just see a blonde woman. You're not looking and seeing, oh, wow, there's a wig on there.
Right.
You're seeing a sex scene and a blonde person killing someone.
Yeah.
And so I kind of, again, obviously looking at it now, it looks like a wig. And I felt the same way. I'm like, how do I not see that was a wig? But you have to take that into context. Like, we were in a movie theater.
Right.
The scene wasn't that long.
No, it's not.
You don't see it for very long. So you're only seeing a blonde woman for so long. You're not really picking it apart. Mm. And, of course, you don't know what the story is about. You don't know anything about the story when you're seeing it. So we have to cut ourselves some slack there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's obvious when you're looking now. It's a stupid
it's so funny.
At one point, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is in it.
Kristen, you did that with Fatal Attraction, too.
I do it all the time. I know. Me and my
God.
worst. Michael Douglas, he actually says to Beth, well, you have a psychology major. You can manipulate people just as well as she can. Or better than she can.
Yeah.
Like, that was another thing that was said. Yeah. And I'll tell you something about Beth. I was surprised watching it this time. I was surprised at how much she was in this movie. I don't remember her being in it very much at all. I felt like she was in maybe 2 scenes. Mm-hmm. And then it was a surprise, like, oh my God, it's her.
Yeah.
I was shocked at how much she was in this movie.
She's in it a lot.
A ton.
And let's stay with Beth, because one thing that really upset me. Mm-hmm. Do you know where I'm going with this?
I don't. I couldn't even...
Michael Douglas's character, Nick, rapes her.
Yes.
I mean, no matter how you slice it. And because she says, no, Nick, no. This is Beth screaming. Yep. He hits her head off the arm, what do you call it? The accent chair.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. I mean, and 3 seconds later, it's over. And then later on, she says, you weren't making love. Mm. She eventually throws him out. But this is a rape.
Right.
And it's like, where was our level of consciousness, like, back in 92, that he is our main character, and he is a rapist.
Right. And I think we chalked it up to rough sex. I think that's what we chalked it up to back then.
Nowadays, I don't think you could get away.
That scene would not be
cut. She wouldn't have said no. And, I mean, like, but
she would have, like, thrown him against the wall, too. Like, it would have been different.
Yeah, it is horrifically unpleasant, that whole sequence.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I don't remember feeling that way.
Nope, not at all.
Honestly, I don't remember them even having sex, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, like, him slamming her against the wall. I mean, it's like ripping the shirt
open.
Like, it's like, oh my God, I'm like, what? And I think it was just...
And he's drunk.
Yeah. And I think it's because I think going back to the hype of it, it's like, oh, this sexually charged thriller, steamy, it's rough. And it's like, well, there's rough sex and there's, like, just full-on rape when someone's saying no. I mean, it's awful. But I was like, ugh, it's...
Yeah, gross. It wasn't a good scene. And, I mean, yeah, it was just sort of like we were supposed to believe that he was, fantasizing that he was with her, obviously.
That's right.
In which case, it was sort of a rougher situation. Yeah. But, very disturbing.
But I just talked for a lot, so why don't you give me a main takeaway? So
my main takeaway is, I'm going to probably talk a lot now, too.
Go ahead.
Because I just didn't feel like... All right, I just felt like there were lots and lots of problems with this movie. I felt like... Just even like the first... where do I begin? Like, I felt like so much of it was contrived. The kind of Sharon Stone look-alike coming down the stairs at first. And she says, Catherine didn't kill her. She said something to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine's not a killer.
Mm-hmm.
Or something like that. And it's like, no one said that she was. Like, you're not going to talk to police officers that way in the first meeting. You're not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Then they, meet with Catherine, and Catherine's just so cooler than school. She's a chain smoker. Everything out of her mouth is from, like, some, like, 30s noir.
Yeah.
Like, right? You know what I'm talking?
So you're exactly right. So basically, it's so that whole movie is film noir.
Yeah.
However, like, it's not very...
But I don't even think it's the whole movie. I think it's like the first half of the movie, and then it changes.
Okay.
Personally.
That's fair. Yeah, I think, because it's like this, like, film noir thing where it's, like, everyone's smoking and everything. But the thing is, with film noir, like, if you look at, like, say, Double Indemnity, or, like, one of those older movies where it's, like, the femme fatale, okay? Or even Body Heat. So it's, like, but... what you often have are, like, two smart lead characters.
Mm-hmm.
And in this movie, Sharon Stone is like the only one with a brain. Or even, and yes, it is a hyped up personality. I mean, it's so ridiculous. And she says, he's like, so, your boyfriend, Mr. Boz, she's like, he wasn't my boyfriend. I was fucking him.
Yeah.
And she goes, and he's like, and what was your religion? She's like, oh, he's dead? Too bad. I liked Buckingham.
Yeah, it's really weird.
It's so weird. And she's like, and then she goes, get the fuck out of here. And like, to detectives investigating, I'm like,
is she going to arrest me?
Yeah.
Just get
so,
the
are you going to
fuck
charge
out of
me?
here.
Yeah. You're going to charge me for smoking? Like, it's like...
all of these lines are so movie lines. It almost... All right, picture this, Brian. Picture this.
Yeah.
Black and white.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Black and white. Billed as a spoof on film noir.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it is. I'd be laughing my ass off.
Yeah.
It was so poorly done. Nobody speaks this way. Nobody speaks this way. It is so stupid. And the fact that, like, freaking Michael Douglas's character is as dumb as a stump.
Oh, my God. He's so dumb.
He is probably one of the worst characters I've ever seen on film.
Okay.
Worst.
Yeah.
Not only is he a shitty character to begin with, like he's just so flawed or whatever, but I don't feel any sympathies for him at all. I think he's stupid. I think he's like a complete wishy-washy, like, wuss. He follows her around. At one point in time, he's like copying her. Like he's pretending to be her almost. It's weird. It's a weird character, and I didn't like him at all. I kind of was like, just kill him. Just kill him. He's not smart.
No.
He's not redeemable at all.
Mm-hmm.
He, like, when he was being questioned in that same, what's it called? The room. The interrogation room.
Yeah.
As her. He's literally saying the same words that she did. Like, he's pretending to be her. He's copying her. He lights up a cigarette and says the same exact line. Are you going to charge me with smoking? I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Yeah. You're an idiot.
It was so weird.
Yeah. We're going to charge you with smoking. Get in the freaking cell. Yeah. Like, you're an idiot. I could not stand that character. I did not buy at all why Sharon Stone's character would be even the least bit interested in even giving him the time of day.
Well, so to that, we know that she is attracted to people who've killed people, who've killed someone.
Right.
She writes these so under an assumed, what do they call it? Jesus Christ. Pseudonym? Yeah. Pseudonym?
Something like that.
She, under a different name, pen name, she writes these murder mystery books, and she surrounds herself with people that have had dark pasts and killed people. So when she finds out that this detective has actually killed people, she becomes more drawn to him, the danger. But
somehow she already knew about that.
Yeah, it's not,
because even in that first conversation,
super clear. Yeah,
like, you killed, didn't you? Like, she had some stupid. You know the feeling about that, don't you, Nick? Like, just stupid conversation.
Well, then the film noir thing, right? So, like, she says, have a cigarette? Like, so she's in the interrogation room, and she keeps referencing Nick, right? Mm-hmm. But if this was film noir, he would have been like this like hard-bitten like detective being like, now look, lady. Like, but that's not what he does.
It would have been like
he starts laughing. And he walks away. And it's like, so this isn't really film noir. I mean, it's like, it just feels very, it's almost like it's like Sharon Stone is in a film noir film. Everyone else is in some shitty detective story. But, so let's talk about the dialogue. Nick truly says, come on, man, I'm off the sauce.
Come on!
Oh my God. Some of this dialogue is gag. Like, it's like, Gus, she wasn't porking around. I wrote some of these lines down.
Oh,
another one from Gus. Hey, look, I don't know shit from Shinola.
He was a terrible character, too.
Oh, Gus.
He was...
Racist? How about the diner? The diner, when there's that family that it's like people of color.
Yeah.
And he goes, la, 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 la.
Yeah.
I was like, that's racist. Mm-hmm. So we have a rapist with Michael Douglas. We have a racist.
His best
friend. Yeah. Everyone's a drunk. What are some lines? Oh, Jean. Jean. What's her name? Beth. At one point, Beth says, so she walks out of the room, out of a meeting, because her line is, this isn't my turf. Like, she would not.
I don't understand who wrote these lines.
Because, so it's Joe Esterhaus is his name. But so my problem is that, like, with the exception of Sharon Stone, all of the characters talk the same. Yeah. And you could say, well, they're all in the police line of work. But give them personality.
People don't talk that way.
Not everyone talks the same way. Seriously, then there's this guy, Phil. Phil's another member of the police force, right? He has a line that goes, what is with you and dis broad? I'm like, oh my God, broad. We have broad. We have porking around. We have I'm off the sauce, and this isn't my turf and shit from Shinola. Nick calls Gus cowboy 85 times. It's like, what movie are they stuck in that this is dialogue?
Yeah, it's just bad. It's just bad. The dialogue is ridiculous. I don't know who they thought they were writing for. It was almost like, I mean, I could almost see it being like a cop show.
Christina, yes. Wait, I wrote, have these detectives, this is from my notes, have these detectives ever been on a case before? They're shocked by every word that comes out of Catherine's mouth. And they all look at each other after every line. Did you notice that?
Oh, I have that written down.
Listen, I'm going to shit all over this movie, and at the same time, I'm going to say, immediately watch it. It's on Netflix this month. Or as of right now, it's on Netflix.
I know, I kind of want people to watch it,
you have to watch it because
you need 2 hours plus.
Make a drinking game. Every time the detectives look at one another, drink, you'll be drunk 40 minutes in.
Every time Catherine lights a cigarette.
Every time Catherine lights a cigarette. And every time someone is driving a car. There's so much driving.
Fucking car chases. Enough already with the car chases. There were literally 3 major car chases.
Yeah.
Enough. One is enough.
But how about Christina? There were even scenes with just cars. They're driving.
They're just driving.
Like, it is so stupid. There's truly a moment where they're like, well, we should go talk to her. They show the characters getting in the car and driving down the road to go talk to her. I'm like, I'm so glad they showed that.
See that? Yeah, we would have thought you were going to walk. Well, or take a helicopter.
I couldn't imagine how else they would get there. I mean, like, really thank God for those car scenes.
Didn't it sort of remind you of like that 70s cop TV shows?
It got a little bit of Charlie's Angels for me.
Charlie's Angels, or Starsky and Hutch, or even like the Streets of San Francisco,
which is fine if you want to make an homage to old moody detective dramas. Just make a good one.
Yeah,
this is garbage. Like, maybe to your point, film it in black and white. That would have given it something.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, this is like...
But it was like, you know what though? It was like halfway there. Like, that's the problem. Like, they didn't do it enough in any of those aspects. It wasn't enough of the film noir. It wasn't enough of the 70s, cop shows. It wasn't enough either way. It was just poorly written. It was like, it felt like there were like 4 different writers and they all had 4 different visions of what this movie wanted to be, and they spliced together their versions. They're like, okay, you do this part of the movie, you do this part of the movie, and you do this part, and it's like all 4 different points of view almost in these scenes. It's bizarre. I don't know what they were thinking.
I agree with you in the sense of, like, and like I said earlier, to that point, Sharon Stone's character, it's like she's in a different movie. And I think there's something messed up about that. It's like, I feel like all of it went into this idea of a character, and the rest of it is like very cliche police drama, like, and it's written like in like bad 70s dialogue, which is weird because it's trying to be very hip. It's trying to be very of the moment, like with the lesbian, with the bisexuality, the lesbianism, with like the dance clubs and the cocaine. It's supposed to be like this, like very edgy thing.
That was very 80s. Like, forget about 70s. Oh my God, I know. That was so 80s. Like the clubs and all that, the neon and the bathroom, the coke in the bathroom. Like, that's all 80s.
Which,
stuff.
Since we talked about,
again, that was the 80s writer.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's that makes sense for the people behind this movie, but. How about Nick also being homophobic with Roxy? God. When he calls her Rocky to insult her because she's a lesbian, and he says, "Hey, Rocky, man to man." Oh my God, Kristen, my blood boiled. Now listen, I have seen, we revisit these movies, and sometimes there's those gay taunts, and I'm like, you know what? This is, like, aggressively anti-lesbian. Yes,
it really is. And I think it really paints police officers, or these particular police officers, in a really, really poor light.
Yeah.
Like, are we supposed to believe that because they're in San Francisco, I think, right? Are we supposed to believe that they're all, like, these rough assholes?
Yeah.
Like, that's what we're supposed to believe? Because they are coming across that way. They're racist. They're rapists. Right?
That's right.
Now they're
and homophobic.
Yeah. They're sexists. Like,
they're all drunk. They're all always drunk. At the bar. They're always
They're
drunk.
all smoking. Not
drunk.
You know.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just like, what are you trying to, like, who's the hero in this?
That's right.
Like, who are we supposed to be rooting for? Sharon Stone's character? Who could be a killer?
Right.
It's very strange. And what you said earlier, a few minutes ago, about her being in a different movie, I 100% agree with that, and I almost feel like if they, here we go, I'm rewriting the movie again. I almost feel like if they had done this in a way, and I don't mean in an obvious way, but if they had more or less, with her scenes, been sort of like, she's in her book. She's in her character. She's her character in her book that she's writing, and somehow, in almost like an M. Shyamalan kind of way, sort of revealed a lot of what was happening was actually in her book at the end, like almost like a reality. You know, it would make more sense that her scenes were so different than the stupid cop scenes. Right? Because they're so different. Well, there's that scene, it's right, because there's also that scene where she says, no, it won't sell. Somebody has to die. He's like, when she's like, somebody always does. But she's awesome. Another something that we say all the time. I will say, though, she's awesome in this. I mean, she at least can sell this awful dialogue. Yes, the only thing I didn't really love about her... And you don't have to agree with that, because I know it's very hit or miss with Sharon Stone. No, I like her. Yeah. I do, and I remember liking her from the first time we saw it, and then I do like her, and I like her performance. The only thing I really didn't love is that switch in her... that about halfway through the movie, I don't remember at what point, but it was somewhere around the halfway point of the movie when they start, like maybe it was after they had sex. Okay. It might have been right after they had sex. All of a sudden, she's like a normal person. Like, did you notice that? I think it was after the death of Roxy. After Roxy dies, because I think what she's realizing, and she says this, she's like, I can't get close to people because they just get taken away from me or they die, and because like her parents were died in the boating accident and all this kind of stuff. Like,
I hear what you're saying. I think Roxy...
It might have been that point, yeah.
I think Roxy was her best pal in a variety of ways. And I think, like, when Roxy died, it's like, oh, this person... You know, whatever is going on, it's getting closer and closer to me. And I think I actually was like, that's probably why her tune changed. It is funny. One thing about that is, like... And I've never noticed this. We've watched a lot of movies. I feel like every single conversation in this movie is about the movie. Like, there isn't a whole lot of, extra dialogue. What you do today? There's nothing you know, oh, yeah. But I feel it's very overwritten. It's very, like, it's very clunky.
It is,
because
yeah.
You're just watching it, like, their only conversations are about this case, Catherine,
her
book, Roxy. It's all, and I can see someone going, oh no, it's really tightly written because it's all about the story. But it's like, it's almost distractingly, the dialogue is almost it's like distractingly bad. Because it's like there's nothing else going on in anyone else's life.
Fake.
Either it's about Nick being a shooter and killing the tourist. It's all, there's not a single line of dialogue that is like about something other than what is going on.
Even the casual scenes in the bar are all about
him. It's all about him shooting, killing those tourists. It's like that's your banter. Like their banter, and then even with Gus, the banter is like, you fucked the suspect. You fucked her.
It's all about this.
It's so poorly written.
It's like, have any of these writers ever been out in the real world?
Well, it's again
just sitting in.
It is one writer, and he was paid $3 million for the script,
crazy.
For the screenplay.
So I wrote here. I liked their relationship better after they fucked, because he's a little more likable. And is more confident. For some reason, I liked him a little bit better after that. Because up until then, I felt like he was just following her around like a little puppy dog. And he just wanted I wanted to throw up on him. Well, I didn't say I liked him, but I liked him better.
So here's the thing. I think I respectfully disagree. I think Sharon Stone, I like the scene where they're in the kitchen. And they have not had sex yet. Mm-hmm. And she is doing the ice pick, right? Which made me laugh a lot. I mean, it's just so stupid. But it's like... It's
the dumbest thing. No one ever would have an ice pick.
$1.99. Was it $1.95 at Kmart, he said?
Yeah.
But she...
Again, he's copying her.
Yes, that's right.
It's ridiculous. Everything he did was like copying her.
If you think someone is a ice pick murderer, the first thing you do is take out an ice pick and leave it on the counter. But like, so he's chipping this, and he says something that makes her laugh. And I'm like, you know what? I bought that laugh. She was in a movie with Richard Gere called... I think it's called Intersection. Mm-hmm. And she laughs in that movie too. And I think she's a great natural laugher. It's a weird note, but it's like I actually think Sharon Stone's quite good. But she giggles. He makes a joke and he giggles. And she goes. I'm like, I wrote down that giggle felt real.
Sure.
but because he is
probably one of the only real moments in the whole movie.
Yeah, I think that was something where it's like I wish there was a little bit more of this, like. Just like God forbid we have a laugh in this thing. It's Seriously. So heavy. But it's I liked how she looked at him. I liked that she was entertained by his like just his bleakness in some way.
Sure.
So and it made sense like with her being that friend of that older woman. Mm-hmm. Is it Hazel?
I didn't write her name down, but
Hazel.
That makes sense.
And yeah, anyway. But that actually really quick, speaking of Hazel. How long was he in front of Hazel's house? And I don't mean because it got dark while he was sitting there. Mm-hmm. I mean in the movie. Oh my God, it went on forever. I'm like, just knock on the door, dude.
Yeah.
Its movie is so long.
They loved that car.
There's so many.
Loved that
Christina,
car.
we should do. I should do for Instagram or maybe we make our own drinking game for Basic Instinct.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, we should do that.
I love it. And I also felt like for something that was trying to be like a smart thriller, which is really what they're trying to be,
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was pretty obvious that it wasn't her driving the car. Right? I mean, it was. You might as well have had a sign on Roxy saying, "I'm going to kill you." In fact, I think she said, "I'm going to kill you" at some point in time.
Oh, she did say that to
Right?
him. Yeah.
She said, "If you go near her, I'm going to kill her." And then they had sex.
That she watched.
Because
She liked
Catherine
watching.
wanted her to. And then all of a sudden, someone's trying to kill him, run him over with the car.
Oh, it was never, never a question that it was Sharon Stone.
Obvious.
Yeah. And he even says, that I laughed out loud, when he runs down the hill.
Yeah.
And he turns her over.
Right, because you're supposed to think it's her because of the blonde hair.
Never.
Nobody
no one
ever thought it was
Sharon
her.
Stone. But then he flips her over and he goes, Roxy.
Just in case we didn't miss it.
It's like, obviously, she's the only other character in this movie besides Beth and
oh my God.
Catherine.
It was really, really dumb. Part of, again, with the police report and all this kind of crap, they are, they're looking at this, Lisa Oberman, which, by the way, so they're in bed.
I said Hoberman.
Right, and did you rewind it too?
I almost did.
I rewound it. She said Oberman, for sure.
Okay.
She did not say Hoberman.
All right.
So I was happy to do that. I'm like, I'm rewinding it. And I listened to it a couple of times. I'm like, it's Oberman.
I should have, because it's on my,
oh my
I have
gosh,
closed
you're right. You have
caption.
closed caption.
I should have done that.
So anyway, she definitely said Oberman. Anyway, when they're looking it up, I just feel like they so when he finally sees that it's her, it's Beth, in the picture, the driver's license is Lisa Oberman. Oberman. Wouldn't her police record come up as well? Because they had questions about that the restraining order and all these things came up that she had this background record, and I don't know why that wouldn't have come up when they first brought her information up.
Well, so I do remember her saying that Catherine said that she went to the college and said
they were both saying the other one did the other, right?
Yeah.
So they're both saying she was obsessed with me.
Yeah.
She wanted to look like me.
Yeah.
I had to put a restraining order on her.
Yeah.
Regardless of which situation was which, there should have been some sort of note in her record. Either she had a restraining order put out on her, or she issued a restraining order.
Yeah. Well, I think that falls into
police.
How amazing a detective Michael Douglas is.
God.
Nick. But you're using logic, and you shouldn't.
There's no logic here. There's no logic here.
Oh my God, so a couple more lines of dialogue. Oh God damn.
Oh God.
She knows where I live and breathe. And then Gus, good old racist Gus. What a character. She's nuttier than a 20-pound fruitcake.
Jesus Christ.
Who writes this shit?
Who's ever said that phrase ever?
No one.
Ever.
Oh my God, everyone watch this movie, please.
It is really funny.
Oh!
At one point...
No,
okay.
no. I've been talking so much.
No, and I feel like I have too. I think, it's pretty even.
Right.
At one point...
Clearly we loved it.
Yeah.
I want to watch it right now.
I want to have a drinking game with it right now. There was one point when Sharon... I don't know if you noticed this or not. And it was one point when Sharon Stone opened the door.
Yeah.
It wasn't... Oh my God. It was after they had sex, and I think it was probably after Roxy died. Oh no, maybe it wasn't. Anyway, she opened up the door, and she was a little disheveled, she wasn't put together, She looked to me so much like Madonna.
Oh, 1,000%.
Did you see that?
So for me, I think she looked like Madonna immediately. Her first...
Even the first scene?
Yeah.
I never saw that about her prior to this
Oh, wait,
movie.
I'm lying. Wait, I'm getting my scenes mixed up. When Was her hair up?
It was a little, no, it was
Up
down
and
and curly, because it was a very desperately seeking Susan kind of Madonna vibe.
But I felt very Madonna with her.
Interesting,
a few times.
right?
Yep.
I never noticed that before with her. And then after I saw that, I was like, oh my god, she does look like Madonna.
She really does.
It's very interesting. Like, they could play sisters.
And it's funny because you would think we would have thought that then, and I didn't.
Totally did not think that
then. Like, who was a bigger star than, Sharon Stone?
Unless everybody was just looking like Madonna during that period of time. I also just want to mention, too, that crotch scene that everybody remembers, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't quite as shocking as I remembered it being.
I'm going to be really honest. I found the sex even tamer, and only because they talked about it still, like, it's groundbreaking. Like, it's like, the fuck of the century. Yeah. And, like, all she does
is she
arches her back. She gets on top and leans back.
Like, were people not getting on top back then?
Or, I mean, really? I don't... Is it that?
I mean, you didn't get any frontal. There was no frontal situation. Except for that one, obviously the crotch scene or whatever. But,
yeah.
Like, it was just a weird thing. Like,
are
we just desensitized?
I mean, how long was that? 27 years ago? No, 28 years ago? But it's like, I mean, I'm just thinking, like, I still don't find this that groundbreaking or crazy in terms of sex. I think because they're both actors, like they're Hollywood movie stars, to see them that sort of naked, maybe that's the big shock.
Was what it was.
But
yeah,
like the sex is not that revolutionary, and yeah. But yeah, when his head is like down her, crotch, whatever. But to be honest, I almost think the Fatal Attraction sex scene with him and Glenn Close in the sink, and then like, because you kind of both see like their, I mean, if I remember correctly, like their taints when they jump on the bed together.
Yes,
like it's like that's much more revealing and a bit odd.
Yes,
they had some different sort of sex than Basic Instinct. It's all in a bed. I mean, it's not super crazy,
like kind of like crazy person sex.
What else? I did write down that, I mean, as much as I couldn't stand his character, Michael Douglas looks really good in this. His body, not his face. Yeah,
he's young and
his face is all worn out because I think it serves the character. But they never show him like exercising or anything. But he's muscular in this. Like he has a good body. What else? Oh, something else about Beth. This upset me so much, especially after the rape scene. I will call it that because that's what it was.
Yeah.
She attacks him. She attacks Nick. Beth attacks Nick. And she's like kind of hitting him. And then he pushes her aside. And he's like, calm down. Stop. She apologizes. I'm like, you do not apologize to this man.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And we should, again, that was another red flag that she was
that she's psycho. Nice. Well, she went off on Nilsson at the bar, too. That was a lot of emotion for what was going on.
I just don't understand how we missed it.
I don't know. Who else could it be? There's 5 characters in this movie.
There's literally 5 characters. Yeah, there's literally 5 characters.
And Roxy dies, so it's not Roxy anymore.
Yeah, but they were obviously. It was obviously
so set up
not
to think of Roxy.
But it was too obviously trying to set it up for her, right?
For her to walk around going, "I'm going to kill you," and being this aggressive,
the fact that she kind of looked like her and she had the blonde hair.
Well, and because I think they're trying to spin it too. It's like, oh, if you're a lesbian, you're crazy. That was awful. And that pissed me off. Okay, I'm jumping to the end. This really bothered me. This now with so much time, and I'm surprised it didn't bother me more in '92 when he says to Beth in the hallway, "Still like girls, Beth." Oh my god, that's it's so wrong.
Yeah.
And I do know that LGBT and I know a lot of gay organizations were against this movie then.
Sure.
And it didn't connect on that deep of a level because I thought the movie was shit. But now I can still say this movie is shit and it's so wrong.
Yeah. So much
for him,
wrong.
Before he kills her, he is insulting the fact that she is bisexual. Or that she
Yeah, it's
God
very
forbid,
strange.
could make love to a woman. I mean, like, it's so evil.
It is really evil. The only thing about that is I think it's because she had... I might be thinking of the wrong scene. This is the very end, right?
Very end. They're in the hallway.
So
and she's reaching for something into her pocket.
Yes. So she had said that it was just one time.
Yes.
Prior to that, it was just that one time.
Right.
And then after that, they found out that she was in a relationship. Was it with Catherine or somebody else? She was in a relationship with a woman, and that's what Nick had found out
from the guy, the police guy washing the car. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that's where that came from. It wasn't necessarily that she was a lesbian or bisexual.
You think it was because
she lied to him. That's how I took it. Yeah. But either way, it was like a shitty... Like, he's just a shitty person.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so awful. I think it was the timing of it where it's like he makes fun of her in that way and then kills her. And also, I'm sorry, Beth would not have a fucking giant Bart Simpson keychain in her pocket.
Wasn't that off? Like, honestly... And that's
Bart Simpson.
That's another red flag. Because remember, she had those keys in his apartment or in her apartment. She had those keys with that weird keychain.
Yeah. It is Bart Simpson, right?
I think so. Yeah. And I feel like that should have been a red flag. Like, I think if I was watching it for the first time now, I would have been like, that's an oddly placed prop. That's obviously going to come up later in the movie.
Well, and it's also just coincidental that the head of Bart Simpson looks like the handle of an ice pick.
Just like
Jesus, God. I mean, like,
so stupid. Friggin' wrote this movie.
So stupid.
They should not have given him the
Because the only thing that looks like a ice pick is Bart Simpson's head.
Yeah. Probably like in the studios going, what looks like a... And someone probably had it on their keychain. Look, this Bart Simpson...
We should talk about the... that Beth is such an amazing stalker that she keeps all of her obsessed photos in the junk drawer of her kitchen. They truly... We need to check out Beth's apartment. I mean, she might as well just lay them out on the floor. They open the first drawer in her kitchen, and it's like every picture of Catherine. Every picture of Catherine that ever existed.
Oh my God.
And then she must have blown up like the graduation photo.
Yeah.
Like
with her in the background watching
staring.
her. Like, I'm sorry,
who would do that?
Ryan, if you were stalking someone and you found a newspaper article with you in the background, not a very flattering picture.
No.
Of you just literally staring, like obviously stalking this person, do you think you would keep that picture?
No, but I'd keep it in my kitchen junk drawer.
Just as long as it's
just for a little.
As long as it's in the junk drawer. Yeah.
The first drawer they open.
So here's a little twist on that now. Okay. So what if it was Catherine and she had those things and put them in the drawer for them to be found? Even if that was the case, which it might be, even if that was the case, wouldn't the police be like, well, this is kind of obvious that all these things are here? Like, either way, like, it's a ridiculous thing. They should have hidden them under floorboards or something. Like, come on.
I know.
There's so much wrong with this movie.
Well, also, it's like, how much time does Beth have on her hands to run up and down the stairs pressing elevator buttons?
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, what is this about?
Why? Why is she doing that?
Yeah.
What's the point?
To build suspense. It's not giving her any extra time.
No, it's a wasting time.
It's a wasting time. It's like, he's going to go up there. Just wait up there. Why delay this? And then, and then she, like, I guess allegedly, she throws her wig and the cloak with the black cloak, which is from, Christina, the police department. It says,
my God, yes.
It says San Francisco Police Department on the back of the cloak. So it's like, girl, could you have maybe just bought a cloak at Walmart or something?
So, again,
yeah,
if it was really Catherine, maybe she purposely took that coat from the department so that it would point at Beth, found a blonde wig and the ice pick and threw it in the whatever, the stairwell.
Yeah. Do you think it was Catherine?
I don't know what to think. This is a question for you. I don't really... I'm not convinced that it was Beth.
Christina.
How do you like that? I think Beth was crazy. I think that Beth probably needed a lot of help. But in my second viewing, so of course my first viewing was like, yes, definitely Beth. But then you have that last scene with the ice pick, right? And it leads you to believe that it was Catherine all along. So when I was watching it this time around, I'm like, all right, let's think about that. Like, could it be Beth? I mean, could it be Catherine all along? And I think there's some ways that it could have pointed to her. There's some other ways, like the two I just said, right? Grabbing the police coat, like, I mean, but honestly, she knew Nick. Like, honestly, you didn't need to friggin' steal a police coat. Like, he's gonna just say, oh, must be her. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But putting all the stuff in her kitchen drawer to frame her that way, all these, like, little things, right? So it could have been her setting her up, I think. However, the problem I have with that is if she was going to kill Nick, she would have killed him. Like, I don't really think she was going to kill him. It's kind of layered the way I'm thinking right now. I don't think she was going to kill him because she wanted to kill him. What am I trying to say? Here, all right, let me, I have this a little clearer in my head.
Should we take a break and come back with your theory?
All right, let's take a break. Let's take a break.
I'm excited for this. I'm excited for this. I did not, all right, I didn't know this.
All right, so we'll be right back with my theory and a few additional notes and questions.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back. Hey there, it's Brian and Christina. We just wanted to take this break to thank you for listening to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pulp culture through a middle-aged lens. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And give us a rating or review while you're there.
And if you have any questions, comments, or observations, shoot us an email at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. And follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Old Roommates. Thanks for listening, and now, back to the show. And we're back, talking about 1992 Basic Instinct, and we're crapping all over it, and yet we still think everyone should watch it again.
Yeah, it's funny. If nothing else for the drinking game prospect of it, and just to agree with us, really.
Right.
Just
I mean, it's
watch it and be like, they were so right.
It's so bad. But Christina, I really want to hear your theory.
So here's my theory, and again, I'm not completely sold on either one of them, but I think that it leaves a lot sort of open. So, all right, we can agree that it's either Beth or Catherine.
Yeah.
Catherine being played by Sharon Stone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it could be Beth based on what the movie shows, right? Mm-hmm. She's obsessed. She had this obsession. She, obviously, showed up and they had the wig and, all that stuff that they show in the movie. And knowing this movie, that's probably what happened because they were so obvious about everything. However, one of the things that throws us off at the end is the ice pick underneath the bed, right? So and again, they do this several times in the movies when they're having this crazy sex and the music swells, and you're like, oh my god, she's gonna kill him, and all of a sudden she just like collapses on top of him after this big old orgasm, right? So they do this several times, and they do it again at the end of the movie. But then at the very, very end, you see the ice pick underneath the bed. Here's my theory. I think it could have been Catherine all along.
Okay.
For a couple of reasons.
Okay.
Number one is I feel like the evidence that they found was very obvious. Like I said, with the clippings in the drawer, in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean...
You mean the evidence they found on Beth?
On Beth.
Was too obvious, too planted.
I feel like it easily could have been planted by Catherine. Yeah. She's a smart woman. She has money. She has resources.
Beth's lock doesn't work on her
Beth's
door.
lock doesn't work. Good. Oh, I forgot about that. Right. That is absolutely 100% true. Yes. The lock doesn't work. It's easy enough for her to hop in there. Also, she has access to a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. She has obviously the ice pick. She could probably find a blonde wig. Like, not difficult items to find. And I could see her being smart enough to say, all right, I'm going to get this police jacket so that it points closer to Beth. Mm-hmm. The only reason why Beth was there was because she said that she received a message or something saying to meet there, and then the police said, oh, there was no record of it. I think it's easy enough for Catherine to have called her and said, meet me here. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think that would be that big of a deal. The other thing I was thinking is, if she's writing this book, she needs it to have a good ending, right? Mm-hmm. So she's not going to have it be the same ending as the other book. It's not going to be the same exact situation where they're having sex and he's going to get killed with an ice pick. Mm-hmm. That'd be ridiculous. It would have to be a different ending. So I think her staging this to make her seem like she was the one that killed him is just part of her ending of her book.
Did you see what was coming out of the printer?
What was coming out of the printer?
Shooter runs up. He sees the legs of his partner sticking out of an elevator.
Oh my god, I'm so right about this.
So it's or something like that, but it's like Shooter sees his partner's legs sticking out from something.
So it's the ending of
this happens. And Sharon Stone, Catherine does say someone always does. So she could have been plotting this all along. I think I'll support your theory and say Sharon Stone was with Mr. Boz, the rock star. Which,
right.
Which, by the way, if he's in his 60s, he had a good body.
Yeah, right?
Right? So, really quick sidebar. But, so remember, Catherine and Mr. Boz were together for a year and a half. Mm-hmm. Beth had met up with Mr. Boz, because through the psychiatrist, they had met a year. Catherine had been with him 6 months prior. Mm-hmm. Catherine may have discovered that Beth was hooking up with him in some sort of sex revenge thing.
Definitely.
Maybe Catherine wanted Beth out of the picture.
So it was her
so
revenge.
Catherine set up Beth.
I think that's what happened.
Interesting. There is a Basic Instinct Part 2.
Really?
Came out in 2006.
Is it Basic or Instinct?
Bombed. It's with Sharon Stone. It bombed.
She went... Oh, yeah. I'm surprised she signed up for it.
2006. So, who knows? But it's interesting. It's funny, because when I saw the ice pick at the very, very end, I'm like, oh, I would believe Beth put that there.
Interesting.
Right? I mean, they had a sexual relationship, too.
That's right.
And maybe Beth... Right. It's really... it's crazy.
And what's interesting is when I first saw it in the movies, I remember seeing the ice pick and immediately saying, oh my god, she did it all along.
Yeah.
But I didn't put any thought into it.
No. Because this movie is not a thing.
Because I was like, thank god it's over.
Yeah, right.
I'm all done thinking about it. So anyway, that's my theory. You guys can chime in and see what you think.
That should be the Facebook question.
What? Well, yeah.
Yeah, did Catherine do it?
Oh, that's a good idea. I like that idea. Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay. Speaking of the sex and so I wrote, my note was that move you're talking about.
Yeah.
Was flop. Like she's like, or plop. Just plops on him, right? It's just the weirdest thing.
Don't we all have sex that way?
I mean, it's just like, really? Plop.
Like gross.
Yeah. Let's see, what else do I have? Oh, another great bit of dialogue.
I think all your notes are dialogue.
Yeah. When Beth screams, she's evil! She's brilliant! Like, yeah, because people talk like that all the time.
That's how I describe you, Brian.
Oh my god, that's so
He's
sweet.
evil. He's brilliant.
Thank you. Oh my god, this movie. That's it. That's all my notes.
So different than what I was sitting. Like, I really was surprised at how bad it was this time around.
I haven't even mentioned the fact that Nick watched her undress. I mean, what a
oh my god, I have a big
pervert.
What an asshole.
He's such a perv.
He really is. Who the frick doesn't? Oh, God, yeah, that scene was just unbelievable. And yes, maybe she was doing it on purpose, but that's not the point. It doesn't matter.
All right.
It doesn't matter.
I mean this. I am going to... I wrote Beth did it. It's so stupid. I have that in my notes. I just wrote Beth did it. But I am going to... I really want to... I'm going to send you a list, Christina, of drinking game stuff. I'm going to put it on Instagram because this could be a really fun... You have to make this movie more fun. This movie is bad.
Yeah, it's so bad.
But you could have some fun with it. It's not a fun movie to watch, but it's so bad you could make it fun.
Yes. Good
idea.
All right. Good idea.
Question time?
Question time. So I have an FMK. Do you want to start with that, or do you want to start with your question?
Let's do FMK.
Okay, let's do that. All right. So it's kind of a tough one. I hate to tell you. You know I love the tough ones.
Yeah.
So my FMK choices are Nick.
Yeah.
His buddy Gus.
Oh, God. Okay.
And Roxy.
Oh, my lord.
Now, when you're doing this, I want to know your theory. Do you usually do one particular one, like, who would I marry, and then do the other ones, or who would I kill, and who the other ones are?
I think marry first.
I think
you do marry first?
I usually kill is the easiest
for me.
Kill is
usually the easiest, yeah.
But I guess it depends on the choices. I was just curious.
I think, and this is just because of my orientation. I would have to kill Roxy. I certainly wouldn't want to marry her, and sex would be out of the question. Oh God, I have to marry Nick or Gus? Okay, fine. I guess, am I really going to do this? I guess I'm going to have sex with Nick and marry Gus.
Oh my God.
In the hopes that I could change Gus's racist ways.
No one's going to be able to change that. You can't change anybody.
At least can I get him to lose the cowboy hat?
Oh, I thought you were going to say lose weight.
No. Nick is just so awful. I wouldn't want to be married to him.
He's such a damaged person.
Yeah.
Just not a good guy at all.
He's violent. He has issues and he's not getting help.
He's a drinker and he doesn't see himself as having issues. No. He doesn't care.
No.
And he latches on to a serial killer.
And he has no moral compass. And also it's when he's like, we'll fuck like minks. We'll raise some rugrats, and we'll live happily ever after. And she's like, I hate rugrats. And he's like, we'll fuck like minks, we'll have It's he has he doesn't even, he's so gross.
Yeah, seriously.
He should be in jail.
He's so, what a one-dimensional personality.
And honestly, speaking of kind of a one-trick pony. And I think Catherine, for that matter, she's like, we're just getting started. What did she say with the sex? She's like, we're just getting started. Or that was the introductory phase. Whatever she says.
Yeah.
But it's the same damn sex move. Again.
Yeah, it's the same exact.
The arched back and the flop.
Yeah. There's no... Yeah. Is that really the fuck of the century? Really?
These people need to get out more.
They really do.
Oh my God,
I feel like there were more interesting sex in the bathroom of that club.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, but you know what? I go back. So if we want to talk about, say, mainstream cinema, so this is interesting. This movie was originally supposed to have an NC-17, and they had to make 6 cuts.
It's crazy,
I know.
Right?
Well, they did cut some of the movie, but the director, oh my God, Paul what's his name? Verhoeven? Yeah, Paul Verhoeven. Oh my God.
I'll take your word for it.
He did. Verhoeven. He did all Starship Troopers. He did a million things. So, but his argument was that they had to show the sex scenes because it was always that element of danger that he could be killed during sex.
Well, right, because she ties up his hands.
That's right. So they left a lot of the sex in because it was an element of danger behind it, and he felt it was important to the story. Sure.
Yeah. Director Paul. Yeah, you said
Verhoeven.
Paul Verhoeven.
Yeah. So, anyway, here's my question for you.
So I thought you were going to marry Roxy. And I know it's not your orientation.
Yeah.
But I also felt like she was damaged, but she was redeemable, I thought. And even though you like wouldn't have sex.
She was a good friend.
She was loyal. She seemed like a good friend. She, you guys could like go out and have some fun.
And she wouldn't even care that I was gay.
She wouldn't care.
She would let me do my thing. Yeah. She would do her thing. Who cares?
That's why I feel like it would be fun.
Christina, I take my answer back.
Aww.
I want to switch it to your answer.
But then I would also have you, kill Michael.
I would kill Gus.
Kill Nick.
Oh, kill Nick. And I would I would have sex with
Gus.
No,
kill Gus.
I'm killing Gus.
Sorry,
he's a racist.
Gus.
All right. Oh, but Nick's a homophobe. I mean, awful. They're all. Everyone's awful.
Every single one of them were awful.
Okay. Here's my. It's a true match game.
Oh, okay. Good.
And I think it's pretty good, but open ended.
Okay.
Crazy Catherine is so crazy.
How crazy is she?
She drives her car wearing a blank. Are
you writing it down too?
I am too.
Ding!
It's between two answers for me.
Oh, this was like...
All right. Crazy Catherine is so crazy.
How crazy is she?
She drives her car wearing a blindfold.
Straight jacket!
That's what I put too! Oh my god! I'm like, she's gonna put blindfolds, and I wrote straight jacket.
No, because she's crazy. She
but also, if you put a blindfold on,
blindfolding would
also
be
pretty
quite crazy. Oh my god, I'm so glad we matched. I feel like we haven't matched in a while.
We haven't matched in a while. Straight jacket. That is so
awesome.
good.
So funny.
Guys, Basic Instinct.
Watch it and get your vodka ready. Alright, that's it.
And that is it for us, and for this episode of Old Roommates. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And give us a rating or review while you're there, please.
If you have an idea for the show, or a suggestion, or comment, you can email us at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Old Roommates. This is Christina.
And this is Brian.
Thanks again for listening. Until next time.